welcome to Lilybug's Library. So today is an update of what I've been reading. So we'll get right to it. The first one was an arc from NetGalley, so thank you to them and to the author and publisher. And this one was called Frequent Flyers. So it was a romance that was a little bit different. Two people had met on a plane, but at first, the man was very gruff and not very pleasant, and so they had a little bit of a tussle over that. And then they get talking a bit, and they start to really have a connection. And she goes to the bathroom on the plane. She comes out, and he's totally changed. And she looks, and he's got a wedding ring on, which he didn't have on before. And so she thinks, okay, fine. So things get very cool, and they go their separate ways. But then they meet again on the return trip, and this time he tries to apologize for that. And, she's a little iffy about, who the heck's this guy and why is he doing this? But they did have a connection there briefly. So she starts to kind of defrost a little towards him. And then the rest of the story is basically them going back and forth on on the plane from one place to another. So she's from New York, he's from London. She has to go to London because her cousin's getting married. And so she's back and forth, helping with that. And he has work in New York, so he's back and forth from New York. And in between, they start to, spend a little more time together and start to get to know each other more. And like anybody, they both have baggage. So it's a lot of them trying to figure out what they're going to do about that baggage and how it influences their relationship with each other. So I thought it was really good. It was really about family and found family and love and all of those wonderful things. And just the premise, like I've read a couple where people would meet on a plane, but then that was it. They you know developed a relationship somewhere else. But with this one, there was a lot of travel. And so a lot of their interactions, at least in the beginning, took place either in the airport or on the plane. And so it was a little bit different that way. And so it was also about her. Her cousin is actually marrying the guy she thought she was going to marry, her, best friend. And so that causes some turmoil as well. So yeah, it was really good. For the most part, I was really committed to the book. It really grabbed my attention, and I moved along with the romance, so I really was invested in that. Towards the end, when it kind of wrapped up, um, I mean, I like Happy Ever Afters, but I almost felt like this was too much of a um, too much. It was tied in a bow, like it was not just a happy ever after, but everything was perfect at that moment in time, and it was like that was good, but there was still another part of me that I think could have let it end a little bit before that. But that's just personal preference. I mean, that was it did, like I said, have a nice ending. And I don't know if anybody watches Downton, but it kind of reminded me of the ending of the first Downton movie, where everybody has got together and everything's perfect, and no, nobody has any problems anymore. Which, like I said, it makes for a nice ending, but at the same time, there's part of you that thinks like, okay, nothing can be that perfect. So just like I said, just my opinion. But I did love the book, and the characters were very well done. Even the secondary characters. There's a grandmother who is very sweet and a little spicy, and best friends that are like that, and they were just really well done characters. There's a bit of I yeah, I'm hesitant to say what language it is, because I'm not really sure. Um, Maybe Caribbean, or I don't know. But a little bit of speech in there that I didn't get because it wasn't meant for me, but it's just enough that like it doesn't bother you because you can already get the gist of what they're saying, but adds a little bit more of authenticity to the characters. So anyway, really good. I would give that one 4 out of 5. So the next one that I read was The Magic of Sea Glass. So this was one of the ones that was on my list for this month. And so I really like this one. Again, it really kept me engaged until the end. And this one is about this woman who, what was her name? Lauren. She is an event planner, normally weddings. And the problem is her fiance died. And so she is dealing with seeing these wonderful, happy brides and all the wedding things that go with it. And she's grieving and she's finding it more and more difficult. So finally, she leaves that and she goes to the place, Rodanthe, North Carolina, and she starts working for a lady there who runs an inn and is having a hard time keeping it afloat. So she's there to try and help with that. And so in the meantime, she meets someone who does some work around the inn, and starts to kind of fall for him a little bit. But she's very cautious. Like I said, she's still grieving. She really, doesn't want a whole lot to do with it. And her fiance has been gone quite a while. I think it's like a year and a half or something. So could she be ready for love? Maybe, but she's just not sure. And she feels, I think, some survivor guilt too, that she's alive and he's not, and all the things that they had planned aren't going to happen. And so she starts to get sea glass in at certain times. Like she'll be thinking about something to do with, what would have been their life together, and starts to feel a little bit guilty. But then she finds or someone gives her sea glass, and it starts to look as though her fiance is actually the one that's handing her the sea glass to say like it's okay. And so anyway, it's all about her trying to come to terms with all of that, and this man that she meets, and his past, and the confusion around you know whether or not his father cared for him, and how he can react in a relationship. And there it's complicated. Right? All these things that always say they're complicated, and life is complicated. So anyway, these two really go to all kinds of lengths to dance around each other, and they want to be friends, but there's a connection there. So I thought it was really good. Love the area, just the descriptions of the area, and in all its glory, and this inn, and it's in the has a real small town feel to it. All the different characters that you meet and how they're all interconnected, and really, really good found family, and really good growth on the part of the main character. So I really like that. So that one I would give 5 out of 5. So the next one I read had nothing to do with the month, but it came up, and it came up at the library, and I really wanted to listen to it. So it's the third in the selection series. So that's a YA series. So this one was called The One, or maybe just One. I don't know. I think it's The One. So it's the third in the series, and I started to get bored about halfway through. I was starting to think, okay, this will probably be the last one I'll read or listen to, because they were losing me. But then something happens, some kind of pivotal moment, and all of a sudden there's like a lot of action and a lot of things going on, and I couldn't stop. It was like I just kept going, and it got more exciting, and the end of it was really good. And there is part of me that thinks I could stop right there and be perfectly happy, because it had a nice resolution, and you really feel like, oh, this is great. But there are at least 3 more books, maybe more. So part of me wants to see where it goes from here, and part of me is not sure. So we'll see. I would give that one 3.5, and I'll round it up to 4. So that one was, yeah, it was good. We'll see what happens with it now. So Wonderful Husband and I are working on When the World Fell Silent. So that one, so far, it's been really good. So we'll see. I'll have an update on that one as soon as we finish it, but it will be a little bit. And then I actually won a book that I have not started to read yet, but I did want to tell you about it. So I belong to the author's newsletters, and the author is Amy Van Sant, and she had a contest to name a cat character. And so anyway, I put in, the names of, my cat now and cats I had previously, and anyway, so they won one of the spots, and I got a copy of her book, Pineapple Halloween. So it looks like a really sweet, cozy mystery. So I'm just going to read a little bit about it here. It says Charlotte and Declan agree to help Lulu and Penny complete the purchase of an abandoned 55 plus community. Decades ago, 6 residents of Taro Bay went missing, never to be found. Penny hopes to erase the memory of what happened and sell the lots, but the more the detectives investigate, the more they feel evil remains in Taro Bay. In Pineapple Port, new resident and retired reporter Alma notices an unusual jack-o'-lantern on the porch of houses marked to be robbed. She enlists the help of Mariska and Darla and gets more than she bargained for. So anyway, it goes on from there, and it's like, okay, well, that sounds interesting. So really looking forward to getting to that one. That's something I'll probably save until October, but really excited to have won, and yeah, excited to find out what that's like. So the next one, and you're going to start seeing that a lot of the other ones on my list are not ones that I had picked for August, but I decided to get rid of my Audible subscription. Again, trying to save money. And it doesn't end until the end of September. I can't, that's when I'm supposed to get new credits. And so at that point, it'll just stop. But in the meantime, I have all these books on there that were free for subscribers. And some of them I really don't want to let go without reading them. So I, threw a few of those in there too, because I want to read as many as I can before the end of September. So I read Sophie Kelly's Cats Came Back, which is part of her Magical Cat series, but it's number 10. And so I kind of skipped ahead because I think I've read like 1, 2, and maybe 3. So now we've skipped ahead to 10, which gave me a little bit of a spoiler on a couple things, but nothing I can't live with. So anyway, this one was really good. So the librarian Kathleen, she's got the 2 cats, Owen and Hercules, who are magical. They can walk through walls or disappear, and she keeps getting herself mixed up in these crimes that happened, in these murders. So there's a music festival, and the whole town's bustling with musicians and things, and so they come across a dead body. Hmm. Sorry, this I was trying to think who the dead body was. Oh, I know. Okay. Takes me a minute sometimes. Let me have a sip of coffee. Okay, so they come across a dead body down by the river, and the victim is a close friend, but they happen to look like this popular singer that was supposed to be at this festival. So they're trying to figure out, was it the singer they were trying to kill, or was it actually the person that ended up dead? And so they're going through all that, trying to figure this out. And Kathleen is still dating the detective, and so it's she's trying not to step on his toes and keep herself safe at the same time that they're really trying to investigate what happened to this person. So anyway, it was excellent. I would give it 5 out of 5. Really enjoyed it. A little bit I don't, I mean, I was happy to have them on Audible, but at the same time, I think I still enjoy the, actual print of those particular books. They just, I don't know, they don't resonate quite the same way with me on Audible, which is funny because some books I'm fine with, but I don't know. Anyway, then there was, and that one, yeah, like I said, 5 out of 5. And then the next one was Cozy Corgi number 3, which I'm staying on track with that one at least. And this one was called Bickering Birds. So with this one, it's Watson the corgi, and the Winifred Page is the main character. She goes by Fred, and her friend Katie. So Katie has put a bake shop now in the top of Fred's bookstore. So people come in, they can browse for books, they can go upstairs and get a scone or a tea or whatever they want. And so that's, they're just starting to get it off the ground. They're a little nervous about the whole thing. And or Winifred rather, has been dating, let's give his name here. No, I don't know his name. I don't remember. But she's been dating the detective in her town, and I don't think she's as sure about him as I was hoping she'd be. He's still, he's really trying to keep her safe. So when someone gets murdered and she starts investigating, because there's been talk about poachers in town poaching wild birds, and then this person gets killed that was trying to kind of out people for it. Although every day he seemed to have someone different, so wasn't like anybody really trusted him. But the next thing you know, he ends up dead. So she's trying to investigate this, and he's trying to keep her safe, but he's a little brusque about it at times. And she really gets her nose out of joint about it and is not happy. And she ends up kind of going more towards this forest ranger that she knows, who is also very nice, very handsome, and very interested in her. And so she's spending more time with him and less time with the police officer. And I kind of think she's not giving him a fair chance. Like, I don't, she was angry with him quite a bit, and I thought, yeah, I mean, I kind of get where he's coming from. Like, he really is just trying to keep you safe, But anyway, so I don't know if that's going to work out between them. But the rest of the story was excellent. Um, Really interesting to have it be a lot about birds. It was like a bird society where the person belonged to that was killed, and then there was, a lot of layers to this one, which I found really interesting, and really enjoyed the ending and kind of the way it all wrapped up. So again, I'd give this one 5 out of 5 as well. So far those 2 series have not disappointed. And then the last one, we were back to reading what we wanted to for August. And this one was The House on Blueberry Hill by Donna Alward. So she's the same one that has done the When the World Fell Silent. So this is one of her older books. But it was really good. It was it was the first in the Jewel Cove series, and Abby Foster arrives in Jewel Cove, and she's going to take possession of this mansion on on Blackberry Hill. I keep wanting to call it Blueberry Hill, on Blackberry Hill, and it was from her aunt or great aunt, but she didn't know her great aunt, didn't know anything about that side of the family. Her grandmother didn't even tell her that she had a sister, and excuse me. And so she gets there, leaves Nova Scotia, she goes there, and I think it's somewhere in Maine, I think, or Massachusetts, I'm not sure which. So anyway, she gets there, and it's a very small town, and everybody knows everybody's business. And it's not long before anybody knows she's in town. And she takes a look at this place, and I mean, it's beautiful, but it's so run down. Like, there's so many things that need fixed. It's, hasn't been lived in years. It's covered in grime. It's gonna take work. And so this contractor finds out she's in town, and this is before she's even been there a night. And he shows up at her door because he wants to be the one to renovate it. And as he's coming up her steps, he puts his foot through one of the steps. And she's tired. She's cranky. She's angry that, she had this aunt she didn't even know about. She doesn't know who to be angry at. She's thinking the aunt because she never, tried to be part of their lives. But maybe she should be angry at the grandmother. She doesn't know. So she's got all these emotions churning. And when he puts his foot through the deck and she opens the door and sees him, she's not happy. And so she accuses him of ruining her deck. And he's trying to explain to her that he's a contractor and he wants to be able to help her fix it. And anyway, she doesn't know him, she doesn't know anything about him. And he's just ticking her off. So anyway, she goes in and calls the chief of police. Yes, police chief, the police chief, and it's the guy's. I think it's a guy's brother, or cousin or something. Anyway, so she calls him, and he's like, "Yeah, really, this is really who the guy is, and he really is a contractor and stuff." So she calms down a little bit, but basically tells the guy like, "I don't know what I'm gonna do. I just got here." So he eventually leaves, but it starts this build up of a relationship between the two of them, and what happens with this house, because it takes a lot of work, and if she hires him, he's going to be around a lot, and she gets really involved in the town more than what she had expected, and it really takes hold of her heart. And reading the book, like you feel like she does, like it really takes hold of your heart too, all the people and the different places, and the dramas, and it very much pulls you in, and by the end of it you just want to pack up and move to Jewel Cove because it sounds like a wonderful spot. So anyway, it was a great book. The descriptions were really well done, like all about the house and the history behind it, and there's a whole other level to it. It was excellent, and the characters were really good. They were fun. They were, sometimes a little quirky. All of them had, some sort of past that was hinted at. So it was. I really enjoyed it and thought that it was. I thought it was excellent. And at the end of it, there's just enough of a little snippet to tell you, what's going to come in the next Jewel Cove story, and I'm there for it. So I will be reading more of that series in 2025. So really enjoyed it, and again, would give that one 5 out of 5 as well. So I think we did pretty good so far. A lot of mood reading, a lot, a lot that was not on my list, but some months are like that. So I just couldn't. Um, I guess I didn't have a lot of maybe summer ones that I was looking forward to that much on my Audible, so I think that's kind of what threw in some other ones, but I'm okay with that. It turned out fine, and we're still got the rest of the month to work through some more. All right, so that's it for me. I hope everybody has a great day, and I'm reading another NetGalley arc as well right now. So I'm working on that, and then it's back to another summer book. So I hope you're enjoying what's left of your summer, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.